Welcome back to 360 Sports. I'm Emily, joined here with Sophia, Gwen, and Kylie. Today we're going to be talking about PSU sports and college sports as a whole. So let's dive in, guys. Let's start with some March Madness. It's slowly approaching, and I have some sad news, but I don't think Penn State men's or women's basketball is going to be in it.
No.
Nope.
So we actually have like a 4% chance of even making it to the Big Ten tournament.
Well, the women are on a 7-game lose streak, unfortunately, and
At least we have a streak.
right,
Oh, God.
a streak of some sort. And both of our teams are like the last in the
We're-
Big Ten conference.
Both are last in Big Ten.
Yep, they're
So
not good.
That's it was going better in the beginning. I'm like
It honestly was like the start.
they both started off really hot, and then I was going to a bunch of the games, and then and then winter break happened.
Yeah.
And then I was like the problem. I wasn't going to games because
I
then
think
they just all started keep losing. Like Puff Johnson wasn't doing too good anymore, and it wasn't like because remember we beat Purdue, and that was like a crazy
Crazy.
thing.
That was awesome.
I was at that game, court storming and all that, and then I haven't heard of
Just
any type of
completely
success
fell
close
Yeah.
to
So
that.
No, not
have
at
you
all.
gone back?
No.
Okay, maybe you are the
We
problem
need to
then.
get
So
back
let's
there.
send you back to the games. See what happens.
Please.
But even the women's games, I was going to a bunch of those too, and it was doing really good, and a bunch of the players were standing out. There were a bunch of key moments, lots of good highlights, and then I don't know if maybe
Something's-
we were though playing a bunch of
Yeah.
if for lack of better words, like no names.
Yeah.
So
I-
was it
That
like
happens at the beginning of the
I
season.
think it was
Yeah.
once we started getting into the Big Ten play. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at it now, we have Penn State is 3-12 in the Big Ten for men's basketball.
Yeah.
And then women's is 1-14, so just even worse.
Yes.
And we just really haven't been able to bounce back from those losses.
No.
Yeah.
So that's definitely difficult, and it's hard when because March Madness comes around, and you get those like sneaky March Madness Madness fans, and then you get the diehard March Madness fans, and then you're a student at Penn State, and then it's like, it's so hard because I wish we were a basketball school.
We're just not. We're not a basketball school.
Not gonna happen.
It's like
We've
false
tried.
hope in the beginning, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that usually doesn't even happen. This was like an outlier
Right.
year in that even.
But not so long. We made to like the Elite Eight, was it Elite Eight or
was
Sweet
that?
16 maybe like a couple years ago, and that was like the last that anyone had seen.
I feel like our teams are like revolving doors where like we get players and then they're
Yes.
gone the next season and then you're starting new again, and it's just a constant cycle of rebuilding a program that's never necessarily steady.
Yeah, but we were supposed to be a good recruiting. Our men's basketball is supposed to be like good recruiting in history, like have that type of pedigree, and that's not happening. I don't know what's happening when they get to Happy Valley, but that's not happening.
Do you think it's the coaching or the players?
Right now, I mean, I've seen things on injuries, and I think the biggest concern was their depth. When there is an injury, is there someone to fill in that void and be able to take in those bigger spots and play that game? And I just think that's something that we lack, honestly.
Yeah. I think part of it, too, is that everyone knows that Penn State isn't a basketball school. If you're a really good basketball player, you don't want to go to Penn State. You want to go to a school where people are going to show up to the games. I mean, I was at the game against UW, the Thon game, and there was pretty much no one there. It was sad. And that was a game that could have been won because also UW, not that good. And I just think that there's no real reason right now for a really amazing basketball player to go to Penn State.
Yeah, I get that. But at the same time though, it's kind of just like I feel like it would take them to get like a 5-star recruit, 4-star recruit, like just to come in and like change it up. But then it's also our student body. Like, why aren't we going to the games? Like people like
Exactly.
it's because we're so bad. But then it's like if we're right. But
then
then
we got energy.
if it's like this like that Penn State like family energy, I feel like. But then at the
agree.
same time, like I feel like I remember like one of the games the coach was like begging people to go. He was like getting. Annoying. He was getting really like mad in like his press conference, saying like what type of student body do we have that doesn't go to like the games or whatever. But you don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to. You don't have to be rude about it.
And you see what they can do in like the BJC with against Rutgers. Like it was a close game. There was a decent amount of people there, and they pull through with the win. So it's not impossible. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
He's
or
right.
Purdue.
Yeah.
But also, like, the tickets are expensive, and we're not good. So why would I buy,
And
like...
it's empty.
Yeah, why would I buy men's basketball tickets to go watch us lose every Big Ten game that we play?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't. And I don't, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have Penn State men's play Nebraska tomorrow. So maybe we'll
do.
change the tone, flip things around. I don't know how many more games they have left until
Maybe like
the tournament
5.
starts. Not
Yeah.
many, so
It's
probably
not
not
enough.
enough.
I don't even think we're qualifying. Yeah, I don't.
There's no shot, but you know.
I don't think there's chance.
Even if we made it to the tournament, like, we wouldn't win. So
No one wants that.
there's-
Just let it be a rebuilding
Yeah.
year.
Just let us lose without getting to the tournament. But now that we have talked about our alma mater, let's switch to teams that will be showing up in March Madness. On the men's side, Auburn has been awesome all year long, and on the women's side, Notre Dame has been dominant. Are there any teams that you're really excited to see in March Madness, whether it's a team playing them or just two other teams playing? What are we thinking?
I'm excited to see St. John's. Like, they're doing really well in the Big East right now. They're 22-4, and they're sweeping away and dominating those big name teams in the Big East, like Nova, Marquette, UConn, those names that are usually stacking up that leaderboard. But this year, like, St. John's has really been up there, and they haven't been like that in a really long time. They haven't even been in the Big East Conference tournament since the year 2000, and now this year, like, they beat at Madison Square Garden. They beat Madison Square Garden. Wow. They beat Creighton like just 2 days ago. So like I'm liking this, what I'm seeing from them. I'm liking the depth in their team, what the players are figuring out. They have a new coach who's extremely questionable within the last 2 years. Since he was the new coach for start of 2023, and now he's doing something with this team. So I'd like to see what they're doing. And the Big East is definitely a competitive one. So to see them excel, I'm excited for that.
Definitely.
But then also, like, for the teams that are always good, Houston and Ohio State have some of the best defenses.
I was going to say Ohio.
Yep, that was on my radar too.
And Iowa State. Houston and Iowa State have some of the best defenses in college basketball that we're looking at right now, which is something that, I don't know about college basketball, but I know that's something like the NBA themselves lack, so it's more exciting when you see that strong defense building up, and I think it makes for a better tournament either way. So those are two teams that I'm expecting to do good, excited to see, but then St. John's was like my team that, I guess they're not a sleeper right now because they're doing well, and it's like, everyone knows that they're doing well, but definitely wasn't like one of those big name teams that you were expecting.
It's not someone that you're thinking about when you think March Madness.
Not really.
I have two teams for the men's side that are honestly, I never even heard of this one team before, but they're doing surprisingly very well. So I have VCU. This is Virginia Commonwealth in the A10.
Oh.
They're winning, honestly, all of their games. They're on the top of the conference. They should come out on top of that A10 tournament and should make it to March Madness. I think they can hold up a fight against some of these early teams at least, and I can see them making a run, honestly. I think that their defense and offense can carry them through. We'll see. That's very, very ambitious of me. And then I also had St. Joe's in the A10. They beat Texas Tech early on in tournament play, I forget, a little while ago, and almost beat Texas as well. So just two of those teams that are you don't think about them. A10's not a big basketball conference that you're looking at necessarily, but I think they could put on a good run potentially.
I was looking at Wisconsin. They're picking up steam. They just beat Purdue, which I know Penn State did that, but I think this one counts. I also they have Michigan State coming up, which is a game that they want to win if they're gonna be a team to beat going into March Madness. I think that's a team that could end up making a big run and a long run in the March Madness tournament. So, yeah.
I think Marquette, too, like you said, you have to look at. I think they always do good in these playoff settings, and I think they'll honestly be ranked fairly high and could potentially go on a run as well, along with, obviously, Auburn, who is just insane right now. It's kind of hard to think of a team that's as versatile and strong as them.
Well, my thing with March Madness is I feel like it's one of those brackets where you always get those sneaky teams, and then you're not really like
expecting.
You're not expecting it, and then you get to like they get the fame and the popularity and the publicity for like the first till the Elite Eight, and then they usually, I feel like it's usually in fashion that they'll probably tamper out by then. But that's why, like, I'm always looking forward to those big names. I mean, UConn won it last year, but they're not. I mean, St. John's beat them this year.
Not doing
great. It's like they're doing well for themselves, but not coming off like that championship win. So I'm excited to see who will take that home this year.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, March Madness is one of those things I feel like it could always be up in the air. There's always like the top 2 team or the top 4 team will get out in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
So
Always
that's
an
what I
upset.
like the most. I feel like you don't see that in a lot of sports.
Yeah.
So that's why it makes it the most exciting.
And I mean, what's a team without a coach? We have quite a bit to discuss with the Big Ten coaching changes that they're making. Since we go to a Big Ten school, obviously, I'm sure we have all heard about the new coaching changes, which have been pretty relevant. I mean, we've hired Jim Knowles, which is a previous Ohio State defensive coordinator, to take over as our defensive coordinator a couple weeks ago. And recently, they've hired Stan Drayton, who is Temple's head coach. What are we thinking?
I think it's interesting that, to a certain extent, the Big Ten is just kind of like a big carousel of coaches. Like, obviously, Jim Knowles came from Ohio State.
Yes.
Right now, UW's, University of Washington's defensive coordinator just left. And so they're looking to hire Ryan Walters, who is the head coach of Purdue, only head coach to get fired in the Big Ten. And so I think it's interesting how it's kind of just like going around and around, and you go from head coach to offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and then like NFL, but then you still come back to the Big Ten.
I know.
So, yeah.
Like Temple's head coach, Stan Drayton, is now our running backs coach. So he went from head coach to running back coach. I mean, obviously it's a step up because now it's a Big Ten school.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about us getting him. Honestly, I think that is a home run hire, to be honest. I think he's going to be really good for Penn State, and hopefully we'll see a difference.
Yeah, I trust James Franklin that's hiring in that sense, especially because we pride in our running backs with Nick Singleton and like the history we've had. So I'm not worried so much. I don't like. I know coming from school, like smaller school, and you come to the Big Ten, being the running back coordinator at a Big Ten school and then being the head coach at one of like the smaller collegiate schools is like. It is stepping up in a way. I just always find it interesting, though, when there's like a back and forth between Ohio State and Penn State. Like a Penn State coach will go to Ohio State or a player and vice versa. I always just think it's interesting because, it's like that crazy rivalry and like changing back and forth. But
so quickly, too.
Do you think it'll make a difference? Do you think this will be the season?
Hopefully.
I thought last year was good. I thought if there was any season, it was going to be last season. So now I don't know. We're losing Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
But we have Tyler Warren 2.0.
We still
Luke
have
Reynolds.
good players. I don't know. I think, honestly, I think it's going to be similar to how we were this past season. Like, I don't think we're going to drop off drastically. Obviously, defense might be something to fill in without Abdul Carter, but we have Jim Knowles from Pennsylvania native, so I like to believe that he's coming home. This is him coming home.
Yeah, exactly.
And going to bring that home for us as well. So hopefully we see that happen.
Plus, we have a lot of returning
Yeah,
players
we do.
which is pretty exciting.
I also feel like James Franklin was preparing for Abdul's entering into the draft by bringing in a strong defensive coordinator like that. I mean, he's bringing in someone with experience and someone who would know how to beat a team like Ohio State.
Exactly.
So that's why I'm actually very proud of that get. I think that's going to be good for us.
It's just
because
inside.
we're filling big shoes.
Exactly. And you have insider to that, our biggest rival. So I think that I really do think it'll be beneficial to us. Yeah.
I mean, and Jim Knowles has a $3 million incentive to make the defense work.
Highest paid defensive coordinator.
Coordinator, period.
I mean,
I think of all.
We just hired like a new running back coach too, which we're losing. Jalen Reed, I'm pretty sure, for NFL draft. I'm right. And then I think Nick Singleton's coming back though, or are both of them coming back?
Both of them.
Both of them are coming back.
Yeah, he didn't declare for the draft.
Yeah. So we're still
Drew
gonna have
will go the same
time.
Same year
Next
year when they go.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot to talk about next year. Can't wait for that. Okay, moving on to our board segment. The NFL draft is about 2 months away, but the combine is coming up, and there's been a lot of talk about who's going to go where. So I want to know what you guys are, like, who you guys are thinking are going to go where.
Yes, I think I'm first
Yes.
for this.
Yep,
Yes.
Sophia,
Awesome.
you're first. Let's see your pick.
Okay, so my match, I'm going Cam Ward to the Browns. And now because looking at it, the Titans got that number 1 pick. But in NFL fashion, in draft fashion, I think they're going to go with Travis Hunter. I think they're going to try to get the number 1 board on the spot. I mean, he was the Heisman winner. Like, in my sense, it's kind of like, how could you not, even though they are in need of quarterback? But then it's just like when that's available, he's going. The second, like, the top 1 or 2 team don't take him, he's going. So that's why I went for Cam Ward to go number 2 at the Browns, because the Browns do desperately need an edge rusher, where you think Abdul Carter would slip in greatly there, which is true. But Jameis Winston has not done a thing for the Browns. They just need to fix up that QB situation. So I think they can do that in this draft with a strong QB like Cam Ward, who thinks extremely highly of himself. And then they can fix up later in the draft that depth. They can get the depth later in the rounds, and then even in free agency, especially if they can have some money to share. So that's where I'm going, Cam Ward at number 2. I mean, is perfect? Is this a perfect pick? I'm not sure, but I think it's something that works. It makes sense, and I definitely wouldn't be surprised if this happened.
I like that.
I like it, yeah. I
Thank
like
you.
it. I actually talk about Cam Ward because I don't want him to go to the Titans, but he can go to the Browns.
And they need to figure out their quarterback situation. It's rough.
Yeah. All right, Gwen, let's take a look at your pick.
All right. Because I have free will, I'm not going to talk about the top picks. I'm going to talk about the Seahawks. And the Seahawks are in absolute desperate need of an offensive lineman. It's rough right now, and I don't want to happen. Like, I don't want to get a quarterback this year. They don't need it. You don't want to get Drake made. And so I think I'm completely blanking on his name right now. Tyler something I want to say. That's bad. But he is one of the best offensive linemen in this draft class, and he's going to be an amazing pick for the Seahawks if they choose to do that. I've seen some buzz about him going to the Bears or the Chargers, but the Bears aren't going to take him. They have better options, and the Chargers have the 22 pick. So it's really in the Seahawks' hands. I think that this would be a match made in heaven, as the segment suggests. So it's who I'm going with.
I also see that being beneficial to the
Are you a
Seahawks.
Seahawks fan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Tyler Booker is the name.
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, I can see that. No, picking I'm a Jets fan, so I was gonna go somewhere for the Jets, but then I picked going with the player because
Fair
I
enough.
can't think of any Jets to like really
Right.
do their whole
Scrap.
life.
I'm an Eagles fan, and I think our team's pretty great, so I didn't choose.
yeah.
I didn't choose any.
I'm quite sound with that as
Yes,
well.
that's what I'm saying. Okay, Kylie.
Yes. Okay, for my match, I have Shedeur Sanders to the Raiders. Honestly, they're in desperate need of a quarterback. I think they have Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Gardner just playing one more game than Aiden this season. He threw 10 interceptions, and I believe Aiden had 4. And Gardner fell victim to, I think, 29 sacks this season. So not great stats overall. And I think Shedeur will be able to provide. He's good in the pocket, and I think that he will be something that can uplift this Raiders team, who had just not a good season at all, to become a little bit better and bring this offense to the next level.
Yeah, I could see that. I also the Falcons were like looking for was it Falcons? No, it was the Falcons were looking for Tyler Warren. I've just been worrying about where he's gonna go.
I'm intrigued.
Me too.
But I could see that with Sanders. I also think Sanders, I was thinking like maybe for the Patriots, I honestly will take Abdul Carter possibly if he doesn't even go earlier.
I think he's gonna go first.
I think he's gonna go first. I don't know. I think Travis Hunter's gonna go first, and then. But my thing with my thing with Sanders is that he might get taken before the Raiders, but if he doesn't, I could see him.
And he doesn't want to go to the Raiders. I think he wants to go
No one wants to
earlier
go to the
as
Raiders.
well.
He's
Obviously,
not good enough to
but
do that. I don't care.
he'll play there and be able to bring that program somewhere else. Where in other teams, I just don't know how much his impact is going to play into that.
Well, that's what rookie QBs need to do.
Yeah.
They go to the worst team in the league just to
Build
try
yourself.
and build yourself,
Yes.
build a franchise. So, like, I understand that. So
I agree.
I could definitely I could see that if he doesn't go earlier.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, now it's my pick, so let's talk Abdul Carter. So my pick is I'm going to send Abdul Carter to the Titans. Now, I know what you're going to say, why would you not pick Cam Ward? I don't like his attitude. He sat out the second half of the bowl game, and his response to if he gets asked that is, you either draft me or you don't, and that's not my fault. And I feel like that's not a good attitude to have when you're going into an NFL draft. Plus, I mean, Abdul Carter, he's fast, he's agile, he's disruptive. I feel like the Titans could really use, like, that disruptiveness that he brings, because we all know their offense is not strong at all. They need a new quarterback desperately. But I feel like if you really have a good defense, that's half the game. And they have a good defensive coordinator, so he would be working with a really good team. So I'm going to send Abdul Carter to the Titans.
Nice.
Very interesting.
So you don't have them picking up a quarterback, or is it
Oh, no,
Mason
he just wanted
Rudolph?
me number. Yeah, he just wanted me number one
playing
pick.
the whole season, I guess.
Listen.
I just think, I don't know, has an edge rusher ever gone first in the entire...
No.
Because, well, I think Abdul
don't
Carter's
know.
good enough to go that high, but he's just like, I can see that. I could see him going really high up there.
I just feel like he's really good, and to not pick him, I feel like would be a mistake.
I can see them trying to build that up and then get a quarterback next year early
Exactly.
on when there's more of a variety of...
Because, to be so honest, the quarterbacks going into the draft this year, none of them really stood out to me as fabulous.
it's not a quarterback
No.
draft.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not a quarterback draft. But
So,
then,
I don't know.
But then we have like Ashton GT, we have Abdul Carter, we have
Yes.
what's it called? Like, I feel like there's other depth in other places, which is almost refreshing to see because as much though, but then this ends up being a year where the kind of almost like everyone in the NFL needs a quarterback. So then it's like,
of course.
but I just think, but what you were saying about Cam Ward's attitude, Marvin Harrison Jr., I had a problem with him last because I felt that he had a really bad attitude too, and then he still ends up being the first overall pick.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think
They don't care.
if
If you're a good player,
apparently they don't
Okay,
care.
but,
number
I mean,
2.
his attitude was,
three.
I think we all got what we needed from this. And that's not a player that I want on my team. I
No.
want a player
Yeah.
that's going to show up, that's going to play the game, he's going to play for the team and for himself, not just to beat a record.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he definitely thinks who he is. So did Marvin Harrison. So and so does he still does.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I could see like those they don't even care.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
Moving on. What's a football game without a mascot? Let's blind rank some college mascots. So we're not going to know any of them, and we have to rank them 1 to 5.
Okay.
The first one.
I don't like this guy.
Okay.
I feel like we're not gonna like a lot of these
we're
mascots, but
we
I don't
put
know. It's
put
a
him at-
solid.
I just don't like the little beard
4?
thing going on. Like that's like crazy.
I feel like you have to
think
give it at
it looks
least
like a
three.
lead
You
singer.
give it a 3
Three.
because I
At
feel
least
like
a
there's
three.
gonna
All right,
be
give me
2
a
that
3.
we-
Okay.
His beard looks
Yeah.
like a beer,
We'll put
like
him
a
at
bee
3 to be
sting.
safe.
It just looks unnatural, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's okay.
Oh.
I love
Wait a minute.
Otter the
Yeah.
Wait, his
Orange.
name's Otter the Orange. Like that's
Okay.
great.
I
know.
can't
Give it
lie,
a-
I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I go like
I
2.
like it.
It's
Yeah,
cute.
2.
I do
Yeah.
feel comfortable
Okay.
with
Okay.
I
Two.
remember like what? No wait, I
love
enjoy it.
him.
I
No,
enjoy
that's
him.
fair. That's fair. Yeah. I feel
All right. What is this?
is
Who made that?
Petey
ECU.
the Pirate.
All right.
Yeah, I know, but I don't like the
All
way he
right.
looks.
I feel like if there is like you gotta save the 1 and the 5 and
put
like
him at 4.
I
Okay,
feel like 4
let's
is
put
like
him
a
at
good
4.
I
spot.
think
agree with that.
hideous.
I want to like my mascot. I want to
Yeah.
like to look at it.
Yes.
And
I love the name.
I don't
I
like
don't like to look at that.
That's
Look at that.
unsettling. I'm not
Let's put him
happy
at
about
4
it.
and get him off the screen.
Okay.
that's such a
Are you kidding
stupid
me?
one.
Wait, that's actually
Wait, I didn't know that was their.
It's so dumb. And he used to have like this
is.
really long tongue that was like really unsettling.
That thing
I
actually
think
runs
they got
out
rid of
to
it.
hype
I'm
people
actually
up?
bothered.
Yeah.
So let's put this at 5.
Yeah,
You can
That's
see.
not true.
Do they?
That's
How
not
do you
real.
even hide the person?
It's
You
like
can see
it's
their legs.
it's like different.
And their hands,
than
look,
that
their hands are
a
right
little
there.
bit.
Does it do anything? I feel like at least like,
it like
the other
shakes,
ones
and it
you
used to-
can.
it had a tongue that was like it was. I think
Wait,
it was
that's
a Stanford
crazy.
treat. It was like it had like a really like long tongue. I swear. I think.
I love
if
whoever
not,
made
I'm
it
going
came up with
crazy.
this.
That's what I was about to say. Why do I actually kind of
Imagine-
like it? Because it's funny.
Really?
This is
It's
this is
just
like
funny.
If someone gave me the job who's like make a mascot, this is what I would come up with. Like this is my creativity level.
Maybe don't
Like,
go into
like,
that.
I would come up with that.
All
Also,
right,
you see
so-
the Nittany Lion dancing. Like, what is
Oh,
that thing doing?
I love the
It
Nittany
shakes.
It shakes.
Okay, well,
It boogies.
It shakes.
shakes.
It's cool.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
Five?
five.
Five.
We have
Five.
four.
Yeah,
So we
we
have
have
five.
four.
Four.
So this is gonna be
Alright.
our number one. Are
you so serious? I don't even understand what a Buckeye
Did they
is.
just change
we
that?
said
really
before the
mean.
show. We
I
said before the
can't.
show that if there was a Buckeye, we're making it 0.
That was
we're making
really.
it 5.
That was really really.
Unfortunately, we don't have a one
I
pick
could,
here.
Yeah.
I could do a whole entire episode.
We should have made the tree
on
number 1.
What even is a Buckeye?
No.
Like
We
what,
should have made the tree number 1.
I love the tree.
We should have
When
put the
I
tree
come
number
back,
1.
I'll
Can
come
we
back.
change
Disqualify. Scratch that.
Wait,
Can we
that,
actually just like
Because I'm not
pick a
even
new
saying
mascot?
I think the tree is more creative than a Buckeye.
It.
Right?
So the Buckeyes going at 6, and we have 2 through 6.
Yeah, 2 through
perfect.
6. We don't have a
Nailed
number.
it.
The Nittany Lions.
Nailed it.
The Nittany Lions is my number
We've
1.
taken over.
No, that's literally.
Yeah.
Of course,
All
that
right.
happens.
We're changing
Yeah.
the rules of the game because
Yeah.
I don't. It's creepy too. Like the eyes.
I don't like it.
That's like something that would be like in my nightmares.
Why is it
doesn't
fuzzy?
even look
Why is it
like
fuzzy?
I don't
enough.
know. I don't know.
All right.
I don't like it, and that's really unfortunate as our number 1. And I knew it was going to be in there. I said at the beginning of this episode.
I figured it was, but then like I don't know why. I thought it was gonna be like in the middle, and then I was like,
I really
thought
thought
the
it'd be the
Lion was
Nittany
gonna
I
be
thought
in
the
there.
Nittany Lion was going to
Yeah.
show up, to be honest.
should have
something
put
like
the tree
that.
in the
I feel lied to.
I like the tree.
It's fine.
I would have fought for the tree.
Yeah.
That's
Hey, you guys like the tree.
it's okay. It's okay, guys.
All right. Moving on.
All right. My personal favorite segment of today's episode.
Yeah, you were excited about this
I
one.
am.
Maybe you can.
I love highlighting student athletes. I think we should do it more often. I think
Yeah.
it's so fun. But do you want to start, Sophia?
Yeah, so my student athlete, so I went with Mark Sears. Now, I probably should have went with like a woman, like woman empowerment, or I probably should have went with
It's
PSU
okay.
player. But I went
okay.
with Mark Sears because he's a really good guard. He's averaging about 18 points right now a game on a high caliber team like Bama, and then he has good shooting percentages. Like they're good. I'm not saying he's not great. He's
Right.
not the best guard in college basketball, but he's doing 40% from the 3, 40% from the field, and 85% from the line. So he's putting up pretty good numbers that will
Right.
help him out through the tournament, through March Madness, because
Yeah.
Bama's number 6 right now in the NCAA. So but they always do very well in
Decent,
basketball.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to highlight him. But next time I'll be a little more empowering.
It's okay. Appreciation.
Yeah.
Yes. Gwen?
All right, I went with freshman Michaela Blakes. She goes to Vanderbilt, and she averages 23 points per game. She's had 2 games over 50 points. She got a 55-point game. Also, this is kind of like when I was looking for student athletes, I was thinking, what's an athlete that's going to have to like deal with a heavy course load? And I feel like Vanderbilt, like very well-renowned school, probably like very like academically rigorous. So like to be going to a school like Vanderbilt and averaging 23 points per game. She's been the SEC Freshman of the Week, I think six or 7 times. And she's been the Player of the Week at least once. She's doing amazing. She's on an already good Vanderbilt team, but she's gonna bring them to March Madness and probably going to bring them through March Madness as well.
I would say that women college basketball players are the biggest underdogs
Oh,
in
yes.
student
Absolutely.
athletes. They're always
Ridiculous.
shining through. There's always depth with them.
Yeah.
I feel like every team, every program at least has 1 or 2 key players, regardless
Yes.
if you're in the tournament or not.
Yeah.
So I like this pick a lot.
I love that.
Yes. Gwen? or Kylie, sorry.
I'm bringing it back a season here to women's soccer. I have Tessa Delorenzo from UNC. I'm a women's soccer fanatic, and I know UNC kind of controversial because they beat us in the final four, right? I think it was final four. Heartbreaking, but honestly, I mean, of course I wanted Penn State to win, but I have grown up watching UNC soccer.
So did I.
And they earned it.
They're the best women's soccer program in the country. They're ridiculous. But they won the national championship this year with Tessa Delorenzo. She is the 6th, which is the holding midfielder for the Tar Heels. And she's just ridiculous. I love her poise on the ball. She's so good at opening up the field, dispersing the ball. She had, I think, 3 assists within the final 3 games of the tournament. So she's just a very diversified player. She's a 2024 national championship, 2024 all coaches All-American team, best starting 11 for 2024. She's an All-American on the academic all-district team. Words getting mixed up. She's very smart, like you said about Vanderbilt. UNC is a very difficult school to attend and excel in academically, and I think she does it both on and off the field. So that is my pick.
Oh, I love that pick. I like that a lot. I am a fanatic for women's soccer. Women's soccer players, they're like the most fascinating people to me. I played soccer growing up, so that's why like I aspire. In another life, I feel like I wish I was one of those people.
6th grade me was like, I'm going to UNC. Yep. I was not that good, but I love the ambition. And honestly, talking about the Stanford tree, Stanford and UNC were like the 2 rivals. Like I loved watching them play. Honestly, my favorite.
We should do a soccer show.
I would love. I would absolutely adore that. So could I. Oh my gosh.
Well, unfortunately, you can't talk about soccer all day.
Sorry.
I want to shout out a player whose name we hear at PSU hockey games a lot, Mr. Aiden Fink, sophomore. Last season, he was a finalist for Big Ten Freshman of the Year and nominated for National Freshman of the Year. He led the team with 34 points in 34 games. He scored a team-best 15 goals while adding 19 assists. His 34 points were the 3rd most in a single season by a Nittany Lion rookie, while his 15 goals and 19 assists were good for 5th and tied 2nd. This season, he's averaging around 1.64 points per game. And, I mean, there's a lot that we could say about him. Hockey is not an easy sport. It's hard. It's rough. And he's killing it this season, just like he did last season. Yeah. So I wanted to shout him out because I think that he's definitely someone to keep watching and keep looking out for in the future because who knows where he could go.
Yeah. You hear his name a lot. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I have heard his name a lot, especially I'm like looking for like Penn State hockey to have like that lifeline player, like some like because we have such potential.
We do, yes.
We're doing actually pretty good this season. Like
that's what I've heard.
I'm pretty happy with it. But unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today's episode, so stay tuned for tomorrow's episode.